Blake Lively just got hit with a new headache in court. At the exact same time, an old interview clip is dragging her right back into the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. Two separate stories, two completely different arenas, one in a Texas courtroom, one across social media. Today, we're breaking down both, so buckle up, because the legal one alone has more twists than most people realize. Let's start with the legal side. This one just took a turn that could actually matter. Jed Wallace is a Texas-based crisis PR consultant. Lively has accused him of running an underground smear campaign against her during the fallout from It Ends With Us. The two have been fighting in court for well over a year now, and the back and forth has gotten genuinely hard to keep track of. So, let's slow it down and walk through it piece by piece. Wallace was originally named as a defendant in Lively's federal complaint out of New York. He was accused, alongside others, of helping orchestrate what she described as a coordinated campaign to damage her reputation. But a judge dismissed him from that case entirely. The ruling was simple. The New York court didn't have personal jurisdiction over him. In plain terms, the court said Wallace's alleged conduct didn't have enough of a connection to New York to justify hauling him into court there. Wallace didn't stop there. He turned around and sued Lively for defamation in Texas, essentially trying to flip the script and go on offense. That case got dismissed too, again purely on jurisdictional grounds. The judge found Wallace hadn't shown the Texas court had the authority to hear a case involving Lively, who doesn't live there. It's worth pausing on this because it matters for how you read everything that's come since. Neither ruling touched the actual substance of who did what. Nobody won on the merits. Nobody proved or disproved anything about the alleged smear campaign. Both times, the case got tossed purely on a technicality about which court gets to hear it. Once that dismissal came down, Lively's team went on the offensive. They asked the court to make Wallace pay her legal fees, somewhere in the neighborhood of $800,000. Their argument? His lawsuit against her was retaliatory and never should have been filed in the first place. And this is where it gets interesting, because Wallace isn't just writing a check and walking away quietly. He's pushing back hard, and his strategy here is genuinely clever. New filings show Wallace wants to depose Lively again before any money changes hands. His reasoning is simple. If she's going after nearly $1 million of his money, he should get to ask her, under oath, what she actually knew and believed at the time she made her allegations against him.
She also said in her deposition that she couldn't point to one single article that she thought was authored by Jed Wallace. So all of these allegations are just based on Blake Lively's gut feeling. Now, Blake, of course, doesn't want to sit down for a deposition because we all know what happens when she has to keep her story straight. She's not able to do that. So she's trying to avoid that by all means.
His argument centers on malice, a specific legal standard, and it's a smart one to lean on. He's essentially arguing that Lively's harassment allegations involving him and his company, Street Relations, may have been made with reckless disregard for whether they were even true. If he can show that in a deposition, it could undercut her entire fee request. Courts are generally reluctant to hand someone attorney's fees when there's a real question about whether they acted in good faith making the original claims. So this isn't just Wallace being difficult for the sake of it. There's an actual legal mechanism here that could blow up Lively's payday if he pulls it off. Wallace also claims Lively was a no-show at a scheduled deposition back in early August. Her legal team has pushed back on that characterization publicly. Lively's attorneys have called the new filing desperate and meritless. They point out that Wallace already took her deposition once in the broader case, and that his lawsuit against her was dismissed. In their words, obtained by outlets covering the filing, Ms. Lively won. They've also framed Wallace's latest move as fear-driven, suggesting he's worried he could end up owing her a fee award the same way Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios were ordered to pay in the New York case after that $400 million defamation lawsuit against Lively was thrown out and a judge ruled she could pursue reasonable fees of her own. That earlier ruling may be part of why Wallace is pushing back so hard here. Lively's team has suggested as much themselves, framing his latest move as driven by fear of ending up with a similar bill. It's also worth noting who Wallace actually is in all of this. He's not just some random name attached to a lawsuit. He runs Street Relations, a crisis mitigation firm, and has represented other major clients in entertainment and media over the years. That matters because it suggests this isn't someone unfamiliar with high-stakes legal fights against a well-resourced opponent. Wallace has reason to understand how these battles get fought in the press as much as in the courtroom. Now, here's the part that makes this whole thing so messy. Wallace has also filed an appeal, taking the jurisdiction ruling to the Fifth Circuit. He's arguing that Lively did take what he calls meaningful Texas-targeted actions, including hiring Texas lawyers and paying Texas filing fees. In his view, that should be enough to keep his case alive there. The Fifth Circuit doesn't move fast, and appeals like this one typically take months to resolve, sometimes longer, so there's no clear timeline on when it'll be decided. So you've got a fee dispute moving forward in one court, and an appeal that could reopen the underlying case moving forward in another. 2 tracks. Same 2 people. Same $800,000 sitting in the middle of it. According to reporting on the case, a court filing detailing an exhibit exchange between the 2 legal teams has also entered the record recently, though the exact contents haven't been made fully public. What we do know is that this deposition fight isn't a side issue anymore. It's central to whether Lively collects a dime from Wallace. It means she may have to sit down and answer pointed questions about her own state of mind when she made these accusations, questions her team is now fighting to avoid having her answer again. Whether the judge grants Wallace's request for a new deposition is still up in the air, but the fact that this is even a live question, more than a year after Wallace was first dismissed from the case, tells you this fight is nowhere near over. Now, let's pivot. While all that legal back and forth was heating up, an old interview clip found new life online, and the timing could not be worse for Lively's business. A resurfaced interview she gave to W about the origin story of her hair care line, Blake Brown, has been making the rounds on TikTok, Instagram, and X. It's resurfacing right as she's rolling out new curl-focused products. In the clip, Lively is asked what inspired some of the newer formulas. She launches into a story about bringing seawater back from a trip in a suitcase said to be around 7.5 liters, or roughly 2 gallons, because she loved what it did to her hair.
Literally gotten jugs, like the big jugs of water, and filled them with ocean water and tried to check them on a plane. They were told
That
no.
probably doesn't
And I was
go
like, I'm not
over
going
well.
through TSA, I'm checking it. They're like, you can't check jugs of water. I'm like, but it's the ocean. You can't, no salt spray, no sea salt spray is gonna do this because it's gonna wear your hair down. And it didn't work.
According to her account, she got the water from a beach in California and carried it back to use at home. Almost immediately, people online started picking the story apart, piece by piece. How exactly do you check that much water at an airport without it getting flagged, confiscated, or just spilling everywhere in transit? And is ocean water really something people are lining up to put on their hair? Most beachgoers describe the aftermath as dry, tangled, salty, and nearly impossible to brush out. Plenty of viewers online made the same point. If you actually live near the ocean, you know the water isn't known for leaving your hair silky and moisturized. It's known for the opposite.
So
Where were you?
Just California, but it's just like, I think it's also the saltiness in the air. And yeah, I went home and I just filled some jugs of water.
A founder story built around chasing that effect on purpose struck a lot of people as a strange choice at best. The skepticism isn't just coming from random comments either. A UK outlet, Fashion Times, covered the backlash and described the reaction as what it called goodwill fatigue. That's their framing, not an established industry term, but the idea behind it is straightforward. Once a public figure's image takes a hit, every past statement gets re-examined for signs that something was off all along. It's the same dynamic that's followed Lively through much of the Baldoni fallout. Old clips, old interviews, old quotes getting pulled back into the conversation and reread with a far more critical eye than they got the first time around. It's not just the seawater story getting picked apart either. Lively has also said, across multiple interviews, including one for Own Beauty podcast, that Blake Brown took 7 years to develop. That specific claim is well documented and echoed consistently across several separate interviews, so it holds up better than the water story does. Still, 7 years for a hair care line strikes plenty of viewers online as a stretch, especially compared to how quickly other celebrity beauty brands have gone from concept to shelf. People in the comments are split on whether that's genuine dedication to formula testing or just a number that sounds good in an interview. Here's what makes the timing so rough for Lively. This clip is resurfacing right as Blake Brown pushes a new curl line, with Lively teasing it on Instagram and getting a repost from Ryan Reynolds to help spread the word. This is a brand that reportedly generated a significant amount of media exposure within its first week on shelves, and it quickly became one of the biggest hair care launches Target had ever seen. It's clearly something the family is investing heavily in, both financially and in terms of Lively's own public image as a founder. If people are laughing at the founder's backstory instead of buying into it, that's a problem for a brand that leans hard on Lively's own image to sell product. Unlike a film role where audiences can separate the actress from the character, a beauty brand built entirely around one person's name and face doesn't have that buffer. When the founder becomes the punchline, the products are right there next to her. So, where does that leave things? On one side, a legal fight over $800,000 that could force Lively back into a deposition chair, answering for statements she's already made under oath once before. A separate appeal still looms at the Fifth Circuit that could reopen the entire underlying case. On the other side, a business she's trying to grow, getting undercut by her own origin story right as she's asking people to buy into it. Two arenas, one courtroom, one comment section. Same core dynamic. Neither of these stories is likely to fade quickly. If the Fifth Circuit sides with Wallace on jurisdiction, the entire underlying smear campaign case could get reopened from scratch, meaning both sides would be back to square one on the original allegations. If the Texas judge grants his motion to compel a new deposition, Lively may have to sit for hours of questioning specifically designed to probe whether her allegations were made with actual malice. And on the business side, if Blake Brown's curl launch underperforms while this backlash is still trending, that's a bigger problem than one bad clip. That's a brand heading into a crucial sales window carrying baggage it didn't need. We'll be keeping an eye on both of these as they develop because there's clearly a lot more coming. Keep this one bookmarked. Between the Fifth Circuit appeal, the deposition fight, and whatever the internet digs up next from Blake Brown's back catalog of interviews, this story has all the makings of dragging on for months, not weeks. Thank you so much for watching. If this one kept you hooked, make sure to like the video and subscribe to Clout Fallout so you don't miss the next update on this story.